We're glad that you're here. I'm going to ask you to take your digest, and if you will, turn there to page 3 for my report. If you're looking online, you can go to nafwb.org/report, and you can find a copy of the digest there, as well as many helpful resources that go along with my report today. So even if you're in here this morning and you're able to see the PowerPoint, there are a lot of resources that go along with this, and I'd encourage you to take a look at that. If you look at the book of James, in James chapter 1, verse 5, the Bible says, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him." So as we encounter some of the problems that we have today, let us remember the passage from James where God has promised to give us wisdom and what we need to address the problems we encounter. This past fall, the Great Commission Research Network did a little study, and they looked at North American pastors and asked them what kinds of challenges that they were facing. Now, there was a similar study conducted by the Great Commission Network in 2022. However, this study asked about 79 challenges, whereas that one had asked about 50, and they were looking at it from the standpoint of a church as opposed to the pastor. They answered according to 5 categories, 1 being not a challenge, all the way up to 5 being an unsurmountable challenge. The top 10 challenges are up there on your screen. They're also in the directory. And as you can see on that table, you can see that the results cluster around evangelism, retaining young adults, and training. You can download the entire report at the Asbury Seminary website. As you read the report, though, you may think, this is helpful. However, I'm wondering how might Free Will Baptist respond to this survey? Well, there were enough Free Will Baptists that participate in the study that we can compare Free Will Baptists to other Protestant pastors. And you'll see on the screen a top 10 challenges that Free Will Baptists indicated in that survey that they were experiencing. They had the top 10 concerns that other Protestant pastors reported, with the exception of effectively evangelizing people contacted through outreach activities. That was the 13th highest for Free Will Baptist. And then it was the 5th overall for all pastors. Now, we do ask ourselves this question: how are Free Will Baptist pastors different from other pastors? And so differences occurred on gender. All of the Free Will Baptist pastors were male. Differences were on church size. Significantly more Free Will Baptist churches reported that they had churches between 51 and 100 people compared to other Protestant pastors, which was 101 to 200. And church growth. Free Will Baptist church pastors reported significantly slower growth than other pastors. Additionally, there were 19 challenges that Free Will Baptist pastors rated as significantly greater than other Protestant pastors. And we put that up on the screen. So although overall pastors from all denominations expressed concern about finding high-quality pastors, Free Will Baptist reported this challenge as significantly greater. And so, as a smaller denomination, that may be part of why this is a more noticeable problem for us. You'll also notice, secondly, there's an obvious concern about recruiting lay leaders or volunteers. This challenge is also probably exacerbated by the size of many of our churches. So perhaps some of the reasons for these differences are that many of our Free Will Baptist churches are overall located in more rural areas. And you know about the data from the Association of Statisticians of American and Religious Bodies released this past year. That was based on the 2020 United States Census, and the results indicated that the NAFWB is the second most rural denomination in all of the United States, and that's of all of those religious groups. In fact, the only religious body that is more rural than the NAFWB is the Amish. 50% of Free Will Baptist churches are located where only 13% of the population lives, and the other 50% of NAFWB churches are located in more populated areas. This may account for our smaller church sizes and slower growth than other churches, since nearly half of our churches are located in areas where fewer people live. However, the 2022 results from the Cooperative Election Survey indicated that the Free Will Baptist denomination is the third youngest denomination in America. 28% of Free Will Baptists in the sample reported being a parent or guardian of a child under the age of 18. This is the third highest of any large Protestant denomination in the United States, and it's even higher than non-denominational churches who had a reported 23%. It's also possible that Free Will Baptists are keeping more of their church youth. A recent study of Gen Z Free Will Baptists indicated that 99.25% were regular church attenders, 85% attended a Free Will Baptist church, and 87% of these youth, or Gen Zers, were involved in church ministry. Now, that was a biased sample. It was alumni of E-Team, Truth and Peace, College Missions Program, youth evangelistic teams, and the church training service participants. However, the study shows that when Free Will Baptist youth participate in NAFWB youth programs, we keep them in the faith. And overwhelmingly, we keep them in the denomination. And that is a true anomaly when you think about Gen Z. Now, there is a warning in the CES results for Free Will Baptist and really for all Protestant churches. Although 28% of Free Will Baptists reported being a parent or guardian of a child in 2022, in 2010 with the CES administration, we had 37% of our folks indicated they were a parent or guardian of a child under 18. In 2022, no denomination had more than 30% of their respondents who indicated they were a parent or guardian of a child under the age of 18. The United States church is losing ground. What are solutions? Well, in James 1, the Lord instructs us to view challenges or trials as opportunities. The key is to ask God for wisdom dealing with them and to engage in the solutions that arise. Free Will Baptist pastors are significantly more concerned about the challenges of developing effective strategies and casting a clear vision for their churches than other Protestant pastors. Perhaps the 3 for 30 goals and objectives are a way to address the challenges we face. The scriptures command us to reach people with the gospel, train them in the faith, to give of ourselves wholly to the Lord. And so Free Will Baptists have chosen 3 scriptural goals to work toward through the year 2030. So we encourage churches to look at their strengths, their weaknesses, their opportunities, and the threats they face, and to use the challenges that best fit, or the strategies that best fit them to reach their communities with the gospel, and to train them in the faith and to give themselves wholly to the Lord. In your digest on page 7, we present an update on our progress toward the 3 for 30 goals. In our remaining time, I want to focus on some of our challenges and possible solutions. So when you look at the top challenges faced by Free Will Baptist pastors, the number one listed was effectively evangelizing people who have never visited the church. And so a possible solution is the Know Your Community report and feedback session. And so we have used that with 15% of all of our churches. You may be surprised to know that if you have participated in the Know Your Community feedback session, we will give you a new mover mailing list for the people who moved into your area for the last 6 weeks within a 5-mile radius of your church. We do that currently as we give out the feedback on Know Your Community, but anyone who has completed a Know Your Community report can have that to prep for VBS, for Easter and Christmas Eve and all the rest of it. You probably know about the research based on the Great Dechurching. 15.5% of the United States population has stopped attending church in the last 25 years. And in the podcast with the authors, they indicated that the overall reason for dropping out of church was simply that people moved. So we're working with other evangelical groups to close that hole. We use the online church directory so people can find a church in their community when they move to it. So we encourage you, send a picture of your church, send your church website address, give us a short description of your church, and a short welcoming video if you would like, and this will help us to promote your church. If your church is close to a college or a university, we ask you to consider reaching out to the international students there. We have some resources that have been developed by the Reaching International College Students Task Force that is led by IM personnel, Kurt Holland. But if you email us at questions@nafwb.org, we will assist you with that. And they have several different steps, several different layers that folks can engage into to reach these individuals with the gospel. So if you would like to sign up for the Know Your Community report, stop by our booth. It costs us $100 to do that. If you sign up today at the convention, they have a free gift for you at the executive office booth. So we encourage you to do that. Our pastors have also reported struggling to get their people involved or mobilized in evangelism. And so we're going to suggest the HOPE initiative as the intervention to accomplish that. It's a simple approach, but it's not simplistic in nature. And I encourage you to listen to what Kansas pastor Zach Parent has said. He said, "We just finished our second group." And he heard a statement, he said, from one of his participants. And they said, "We've been Christians for 30 years, and we've done more evangelism in the past 30 days than we have done in the past 30 years. Another Free Will Baptist pastor, Jeff Silver in North Carolina, said, "We started the HOPE Initiative last August and did 2 more groups in October and January of 24. It has changed our church. We have seen 12 people saved, 7 families added to our church. To God be the glory." The HOPE initiative works. And so if you're watching online, you could send us, you could go to nafwb.org/hope. You could complete that form there, and we can send you the code, the discount that Free Will Baptists get. You could sign up by stopping by the booth today at the executive office, and if you sign up today, they have a free gift for you. So maybe you're not ready for the HOPE initiative. We encourage you to try out Bless Every Home. You can pray for your neighbors for free. And so if you go to our website or you use the QR code up on the screen, you can sign up for Bless Every Home. Every individual, you sign up as a church under the denomination, and then the people in your church that sign up will receive a daily list of neighbors, 5 neighbors a day. They can look on the map where they live, and we're encouraging them to pray for those neighbors. Again, if you're here at the convention, you stop by the executive office booth and you sign your church up to be one of these sponsors, we have a gift for you. Putting faith into practice and mobilizing for memory or for ministry was the number 7 concern for Free Will Baptist pastors. And so we're trying to help our churches to mobilize for ministry. And so we encourage you to equip your church to get first aid ready. Encourage them to minister to widows, the divorced, the depressed, the addicted, and the grieving in your community. There was a Barna study that was published a year ago this past May that indicated that unchurched people saw the role of the church, the number 1 role of the church, as helping people with practical issues. The second thing that unbelievers reported is they saw the church as a place that should provide counseling and care. The world is looking to the church to help them with their emotional hurts. Let's be ready with opportunities that arise. And again, if you'd like to sign your church up to be first aid ready, you can use the QR code there. If you're watching online or if you're here at the convention, stop by the executive office booth, and of course, they have a gift for you. The number 4 concern for Free Will Baptist pastors was high-quality pastoral and intern candidates. And if you look on the screen, you will see that this was highly significant between what Free Will Baptists felt and what other Protestant pastors felt. So we currently have 207 churches that are without pastors. That had gone up to 220 at some point, but at this exact moment, we have 10.04% of our churches that are without a pastor. Our pastor placement program is led by our moderator, Dr. Timothy York, and it's our attempt to stem the tide of this particular problem. However, what we are doing is not enough. So yesterday we met with our state leaders and moderators, and we talked to them about something called the Shepherding Initiative. So we're looking at churches to participate in a beta group of this project that we hope to grow. So we'll start it this fall. And so if you're interested, email us at questions@nefwb.org, and we will reach out to you. Of course, you know about the counseling program, which utilizes 6 different helping professionals. However, Pastor Tom Jones has conducted over 850 counseling sessions in the last 2 years. Our counseling professionals have worked or have counseled or done over 1,000 sessions in the last 2 years. This has been a remarkable thing that is happening here. And so if you're interested in receiving counseling for you or your wife, we encourage you to email us at questions@nefwb.org. We monitor that constantly. We place 2 pastors in counseling on Christmas Eve. We placed a pastor in counseling on Independence Day. And so we move very rapidly and quickly to do what we can do to help our pastors and to help their wives. It's our belief that healthy pastors lead to healthy churches and will lead to a healthy denomination. And so if you ever have any questions about anything that we've talked about here or anything else, you can always email us at questions@nefwb.org, and we will do what we can to help you. I can honestly say that as I stand before you, we're doing everything we can to help our pastors and their families and to do what we can to help our churches. We and the rest of our agencies meet every Wednesday in chapel, and we pray for at least 8 of our pastors by name at the national offices. And so we're also asking you to pray for our team as well. You'll see their names listed there on the screen, and I want you to notice they perform a lot of different tasks. These 6 people are doing what they can to help you and to do what they can to strengthen our denomination. We have some other folks that help us along as well. You'll see on the screen the name Tommy Jones. He at this moment is working with 18 different pastors or their wives. I've placed 2 people with him this very week. And so it's a constantly moving issue. And so we're getting assistance with that from North American Ministries, IM, the Free Will Baptist Foundation, the Board of Retirement. Pray for Dr. Timothy York. And so he is working with 25 churches at this time. And we're about to also have him start doing or sharing this shepherding initiative. So he needs our prayers. You also need to know that North American Ministries and the Free Will Baptist Foundation are also helping us fund that particular program. And of course, I ask you to pray for Dr. Danny Dwyer and Miss Carolyn Dwyer, who are doing some of the sessions with online sessions for pastors' wives and helping them out as well. I also want to thank you for giving $471,640 to the executive office last year. That's a $23,712 increase from 2020. And you can see that data on page 20 of your digest. You can see which states are giving. You can also see on page 43, you can see the giving that's broken down there as well. Even with that giving, we are experiencing an enormous convention shortfall. We passed out a little bit ago a little handout from the General Board, or I gave this to the General Board yesterday, and it says convention shortfalls and the real problem. And so you will notice that we are running a deficit in paying for the convention. $83,324 in 2019. We're projected at $83,190 this year. You need to know that if we're unable to pay for that out of the convention, then the executive office takes care of that. And we only had $471,640 in total given to the executive office last year. And so the executive office is doing a lot of different things, and it is quite difficult to handle that at this time. And so we need some help. We need a lot of help from you. And so I encourage you, first of all, I thank our co-op states. 90% of all giving to my office comes from co-op states. And so I encourage you to take a look at that, look at what Missouri is doing, look at what Arkansas is doing, and look at what Oklahoma is doing. I also encourage you to designate money to your states. A Southern Baptist friend of mine looked at our digest. He said, "Eddie, you got a bunch of zeros. That is unacceptable as you're trying to pay for your convention and you've got all these states that have sent nothing to the office to support that. So I'm encouraging you to challenge your people to give to our office and to support us so that we can fund the One Magazine. We fund that, 24% of it, to help us to be able to fund and help support the convention. And remember, we're doing everything we're doing with the same 6 people. And so we need some help to be able to do more. I want to encourage you to also prayerfully consider giving every year a special gift to the Together Way Endowment. All of our agencies need resources, and all of our agencies are really fishing from the same pond. And so at some point as a denomination, we have got to get ahead of this. And one of the ways we can get ahead of it is by investing money in the Together Way Trust. The Together Way Trust is broken down so that each agency gets a percentage of that. And when someone gives $1 to the Together Way Trust, that dollar remains until Jesus Christ returns. And then we take the proceeds from that trust and we send it out to the various agencies to do their ministry. And so we encourage you to prayerfully think about what you can do to support our ministry. We ask you to prayerfully consider what you can do for all of our other ministries as well. And think about even looking at some things long-term to look at, can we give to the trust to help us get away from the situation we're in. This problem is too big for 1 or 2 or 3 states to deal with. We will only deal with it if we all come together. And whatever it is that you do and whatever it is you give, it will make a difference. And you have my word. When you give us resources, we will take them and we'll pour them back into you. Help us help you, and we'll do it to the best of our ability.